Today we're talking about two new Wi-Fi security cameras from Tapo, and these two cameras are pretty easy on the wallet. One is under $50, one is under $150. When it comes to budget-friendly cameras like these, does it really mean quality has to suffer? Let's find out. What up everybody, George Langabeer here. Today we are talking about two Wi-Fi security cameras from Tapo. We're talking about the C216 and the C460. I'm going to tell you all about these cameras. I'm going to do an unboxing. I'm going to talk about setup and install. I'm going to talk price and specs. I'm going to talk the Tapo app with these cameras. I'm going to give you my full review, pros and cons. And as usual, I'm going to tell you like it is. Tapo did send me these cameras, but this is not a sponsored video. But even if it was sponsored, please, I'm always going to tell you like it is. So let's get started by unboxing. All right, unboxing the Tapo C216. Again, this is a 2K pan tilt camera. Inside the box, we've got a USB-C to USB-A cable. We've got the camera mount. We've got the power supply brick to plug the cable into. Got some screws and anchors. We've got a mounting template. And we've got a quick start guide. Then we've got the camera itself. Again, pan tilt, flexibility. Make sure you take the plastic off. So you could just put this camera on a table, or you could use that included mount to mount it outdoors or whatever you want to do with it. There you go, that's the C216. Moving on to the Tapo C460. Again, this is a kit. So this is the magnet mount camera with the solar panel. There's the solar panel. Here's the mount for the solar panel, and then the magnet mount for the camera goes on there as well. Puts it in a nice little tidy little package. They also include this extension cable if you can't put the solar panel near the camera. You know, if you can't get direct sunlight where you want the camera, that gives you some flexibility of putting the solar panel elsewhere. They give you these little rubber covers for the screw holes for when you mount the camera. All right, then you've got your USB-A to USB-C cable. You can use that cable to set up the camera. Some screws and anchors, your quick start guide, mounting template, some more information, contact us a card, another mounting template, one's for the camera, one's for the solar panel. You got a zip tie for the excess cable when you plug the camera into the solar panel. And here is your magnet mount. And in this case, that magnet just goes right on to the solar panel mount. And here's the camera itself. So you would call this a bullet form factor. You can see the spotlights, you can see the lens. All right, that's the Tapo C460. All right, now that we've unboxed, let's talk about setup and installation. For a setup for both cameras, you're gonna get yourself the Tapo app. You're gonna sign up for an account if you haven't already. You're gonna add a device, and then for both cameras, it walks you through it step by step. And in the case of Tapo, it even has a cool little voice that guides you through it. It's very simple. You can have each camera set up in under 5 minutes. Now, I recommend setting up both cameras inside somewhere near your router before you take them outside to install. As far as installation, once you do have them set up, it's very simple. In the case of the C216, you got two little screws for a mount that comes with it. Then you just slide the camera on the mount. And for the C216, you are going to need to plug that camera into power. For the C460, it has a built-in solar panel, at least with the kit that I'm testing here today. And so that solar panel has a mount, and then there's a magnet mount on that the camera just sticks to. So you're gonna have a couple screws for the solar panel, and then the camera just sticks on the magnet, and you're good to go. Now that one, you don't need to worry about power because you have the solar panel, but that solar panel is gonna need as much direct sunlight as possible. Moving on to price and specs, let's start with the C216. This camera is only $34.99, which is awesome. It's an indoor-outdoor camera. It's got an IP65 weather rating. It's 3 megapixel, which equates to 2K resolution, and it is a pan tilt camera. That's 360 degrees horizontal and 152 degrees vertical as far as the pan and the tilt. It has smart AI detection and notifications. That includes things like people detection and babies crying. Yes, this is an indoor-outdoor camera, but if you use it indoors, it makes a great baby monitor because it's so small. You've also got regular motion detection and motion tracking. So if there's a person in the image, because it's a pan-tilt camera, it will follow the person. You can do activity zones, and this camera has two different night vision options. You can do black and white, or you can do color night vision with spotlights. Now, my last video was a real link camera, and it was a floodlight camera. This is a spotlight camera, so that's different. It uses little white lights to achieve this color night vision, and they're not nearly as noticeable as the floodlights. So let me give you a little demo of both. Here you go. Here's the C216 in black and white. So you can see that quality. Now keep in mind, I do have the city lights in the background, but my terrace itself is pitch black. It's very dark. All right, let's move on to the color night vision with the spotlights. So you can see that here. Again, pitch black terrace, so it lights it up pretty well. All right, the camera's got a sound and light alarm, so it's an active deterrent camera, so it could scare away an intruder if you wanted to. This camera has two-way audio, so you can hear through the camera. You can also talk through it. Now, if you know me and watch my videos, you know that I think most of the time these cameras suck when it comes to the speakers. So let me give you a little demo of the C216 speaker.
Testing, testing, testing. 1, 2, 3, 4. Testing, testing, testing. 1, 2, 3, 4. Testing, testing. Can you hear me?
You got two different storage options. You got local storage, which is a micro SD card up to 512 gigs, or you can do Tapo's cloud storage, and there is a fee for that. The C216 is compatible with ALEXA, Google Home, and SmartThings. All right, let's move on to the price and specs for the C460. I'm testing it as a kit. It's the solar panel and the camera, and if you buy it that way, it's $149.99. Now, thanks to that solar panel, you have an uninterrupted power supply using the sun, but the camera itself has a 10,000 milliamp rechargeable battery. And Tapo says you only need 45 minutes of direct sunlight per day for a full charge. This camera has 4K resolution, which equates to 8 megapixel, and that's compared to the C216, which was 2K. This camera has an 18 times digital zoom, and you've got a couple different ways to achieve night vision here. You can do black and white. You've got a Starlight chipset, which is just color night vision in low light. And then you also have spotlights to achieve full color night vision. So let me give you a little demo. We'll start off with the black and white night vision. So here you go. Again, my terrace is pitch black. You'll see the city lights in the background, but here on the actual terrace, it's pitch black. So that's what we're seeing here. Then we can move on to just seeing the camera with no spotlights and out of black and white mode. And you do need some ambient light for the Starlight to actually kick into color. So if it's pitch black, you're not going to be able to use just the Starlight on its own. But if you've got street lights and things like that, you can. All right, and then let's move on to the full color using the spotlights. So here you go. And I will say this spotlight's not horribly bright, so it's not going to blind your neighbors or anything. So it's very unintrusive, which is great. But pretty decent night vision all the way around. The C460 has a magnet base. So in this case, I'm just sticking the magnet on the solar panel mount, and then I'm sticking the camera to that magnet, and you're good to go. You've got flexible storage options. Again, you can use a micro SD card up to 512 gigs for local storage, or you can use Tapo's cloud storage. You've got free AI detection, which is people, vehicles, and pets, and that does not require the subscription. With this camera, you can do 24/7 continuous capture, always on, and what that's doing is giving you an interval throughout the day. You can do every 1 second, 5 seconds, 10 seconds, up to 60 seconds, and again, so that's just always going 24/7. And then when it actually has an event, like a person or something like that, then it records just like it's normal. So it records the entire event, and the rest of the day, it's those intervals. You've got intelligent phone notifications for that AI detection. This camera is dual band Wi-Fi, so it uses 2.4 and your 5 gigahertz. And with that magnet mount, because it'd be kind of easy to steal, it does have an anti-theft alarm. It has an IP66 weather rating, and it has two-way audio. Again, it's got a microphone to hear through the camera, and then you've also got a speaker to talk through the camera. And let's give a demo of this speaker.
Testing 1, 2, 3, 4. Testing 1, 2, 3, 4. Can you hear me? How is the clarity? Testing, testing, testing.
All right, and this camera is compatible with ALEXA and Google Home. All right, now let's talk about using these two cameras with the Tapo app. Here you go, here's my home screen. I'm gonna go to the C216 first. There's my image. You can see on the top right that we're live. The first icon on the image, I can hit that. If I had multiple cameras, I could add those here and see all of them at once. I'm going to go back to a single screen. You've got your resolution. You can do 2K, 720p, or auto. Then you've got your video mode. You've got day mode, night mode, or auto. And then all the way to the right, you can go full screen if you want. Right below that, you've got a still picture. You've got a video clip. You've got your audio. You can mute that. That's the actual microphone. And then you've got the speaker, which is the phone icon. If I hit that, I could talk through the camera. Below that, that's another way I can talk through the camera. If I hit that icon, I can talk. There's my pan tilt controls. So I can turn the camera left and right, and I can go up and down. I can also do a patrol. I can do a vertical patrol or a horizontal patrol. That just means basically the camera will pan on its own. And then I can also do pano, which is panning 360, panning 270, or panning 180. Then I've got my alarm. I can toggle that on or off, and that's the alarm that will trigger when it detects something that would scare somebody away. So that's the active deterrent feature. I've got privacy mode, which will actually shut the camera off. I can control my light. So that's the spotlight on the camera. All right, then let's check out Tapo Care, which is their cloud storage. You can see the prices here. You can do monthly or yearly. Let's go to month. One device is $349, two devices $699, three devices $1049, up to 10 devices $1199, and then you can switch that to yearly, $34.99, $69.99, $104.99, or $119.99. So that gives you 30 days of unlimited cloud storage, rich notifications with snapshots, a video summary where you can compile your video clips into a short video that summarizes what happened throughout the day. You get a weekly report. You have a smart sort, classifies as cloud videos based on one or more detection events, filter and search through videos by category with just a glance. Baby Snap and Growth Record effortlessly capture even more precious photos and videos of your baby's journey, automatically compile milestones into beautiful videos, all with 15 gigs of exclusive cloud storage. So if you're just doing the local storage, it's very basic. You do the cloud storage, you're getting a little more robust. But keep in mind, with the local storage, the free storage, you still get that free AI detection, which is people, vehicles, and pets. Going into the settings of the camera, top right, you've got your detection, motion detection, person detection, camera tampering, baby crying. You can do your motion tracking since it's a pan tilt camera. You can turn your alarm on or off. You've got your pan tilt options, patrol mode, pan and tilt angle, pan and tilt correction, storage recording, that's local recording, local storage, that tells you how much you've got left. Recording schedule, you can go in there and do a schedule, all the hours of the day, all the days of the week, and you can toggle on whether or not you're recording sound. Video display, you've got your night mode settings. You can do infrared, full color, or smart mode. You've got your video quality, again, 2K, 720p, or auto. Your frame rate, 15 frames per second, 20, 25, or 30. You can invert your image, so if you install the camera upside down or vice versa, you can invert it 180. You can create privacy zones. You've got your on-screen display info, display timestamp, display text, display the logo. So basically you're controlling what's on the screen. And display tag on the screen. So you've got a live tag or a speed tag. And what this means is that you're watching live and somebody's moving through the image, it'll actually put a little tag on them. Then you've got your spotlight settings. You can do on and off duration. You can do 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes. So once the spotlight goes on, that's how long it'll stay on. You've got your status LED of the camera. You've got your network connection, privacy mode, notifications. You can turn that on and off. You've got some advanced settings here. Smart actions. The Tapo app is kind of like a smart home platform on its own. So you can create different automations here. So that's what the smart actions are. You've got a user guide, support center. This is where you get your firmware update. You can reboot the camera and you can remove the camera. All right, then moving on to the Tapo C460. I'm not going to go into everything in here because there's so much that's similar. But the differences are, number one, you're in 4K resolution instead of 2K. You're not going to have the pan tilt features because this camera is not pan tilt. And when you go into the main settings, the main difference here is you're gaining that 24/7 capture. So that's those different intervals throughout the day, whereas the C216 didn't have that. But really, those are the only differences, so I'm not going to go through everything else again. All right, let's get to the nitty-gritty. My review, what do I think of the C216 and the C460? Let's do pros and cons, and let's start with the C216. The 2K resolution is decent. It's not the 4K of the C460, but 2K is still great. The price at $34.99, you can't go wrong there. With all the features of this camera, that's fantastic. It's awesome that you got the pan tilt features on the C216. The color night vision for $34.99, pretty decent color night vision on a camera like this. And then it's awesome you got flexible storage options, especially the free storage, up to 512 gig SD card. We all love free, but the Tapo Care is pretty cool. You just gotta pay for it. Moving on to the pros of the C460. Fantastic that we got 4K resolution, a nice crisp image on this camera. The solar panel gives you a lot of flexibility, and you don't have to worry about charging the battery, and you don't have to worry about powering the camera, and it really looks good. I love the little kits that Tapo does with the little mount where you combine the two. It looks really awesome. And again, with the C460, the color night vision is a pro. You know, as dark as my terrace is, these two cameras will really light it up well in color, and at the price point, that's pretty cool. That 24/7 interval recording is a pro. It's not 100% true 24/7 recording, but it's pretty damn close with those intervals. And what matters is when you get to an event, it records normally. It's awesome that this camera has dual band options as far as your Wi-Fi goes. And just like the C216, it's great to have flexible storage options, both free with the micro SD card, or if you want to pay for the Tapo Cloud. And it's not quite as inexpensive as the C216, but at $149.99 for what this camera does, that's pretty cool. Moving on to the cons, and again, we're going to start with the C216. I'm going to start with the fact that at $34.99, it is what it is, but this camera is not the most premium camera I've ever felt in my hands. I feel if I sneezed wrong, I could destroy this camera. You know, it's just cheap plastic. So again, it is what it is. For me personally, I don't know if I'd use this outside. It's great that it has the weather rating that it does, but it would be so easily vandalized or destroyed. I think I would keep it inside myself. And with the C216, you don't have the solar panel, so you're going to need to find power. And that can be a pain in the butt sometimes when you're dealing with outdoor cameras, specifically. Indoors, not such a big deal, but outdoors, just keep in mind you're going to have to find power. The microphone of this camera, hearing through it, is pretty good. But as you heard in the demo, the speaker is all right, but it's very mute, and I have the speaker cranked all the way up, and it was just a little crackly for my taste. I mean, you could understand what I was saying, but I would like this sucker to be louder, so I'm going to call it a con. And the camera has great smart home compatibility, except we're missing Apple Home on this one, and I wish it had it, so I'm going to call that a con. All right, moving on to the cons of the C460. Now this camera, it definitely feels more premium than the C216, so definitely fine as an outdoor camera in my opinion, but because of the magnet mount, it is easy to steal. Now there is the tamper alert, but still, a thief could just grab this camera and be gone, so I'm going to call that a con. Now I think this was just me, but I had some problems with the solar panel not charging the camera at first. Now, I've been injured and I was out for several weeks, so I've had this camera going for a long time. And I would say it was just the first 2 weeks I had this problem. I reached out to Tapo. They actually sent me another solar panel, but I never had to install the second one because all of a sudden that problem fixed itself and it started charging normally. So I'm not sure what happened, but for 2 weeks that was a con. And then after that, it worked fine. Not sure what the deal was there. And again, just like the C216, I'm going to call the two-way audio a con. And I'm not talking about the microphone, I'm talking about the speaker. Now I had the volume turned all the way up and I was still very faint and there was just a little bit of crackle. I mean, I could understand what I was saying. Again, same exact problem that I had with the C216. And once again, broken record time. I like the smart home compatibility, but we're missing Apple Home. And just for clarity purposes, because I get this in the comments sometimes, when I say this, I'm not talking about this camera not working with an iPhone, because it does. It has an iOS app. It works beautifully. I showed it to you in this video. I'm talking about Apple Home, the smart home platform. Some people get confused by that. I just want to clarify it. I'm just talking about the smart home platform. The app itself is great. And yes, you can use it with an iPhone and you can use it with an iPad. It's wonderful that way. All right, that's it. That's my review of the Tapo C216 and the Tapo C460. Both are indoor-outdoor cameras. What do you think? For me personally, I'd probably keep the C216 inside, but it is awesome. You have the flexibility to put it outside if you want to. The C460, great that you have that solar panel. I really like the way the Tapo puts that in a tidy little package with these kits. I think it looks cool. and it's nice to have that solar panel option so you can pretty much put this camera anywhere as long as your Wi-Fi reaches. Are you a fan of Tapo? Let me know in the comments, what's your favorite camera of theirs? Is there a camera of theirs you wish that I would test and review on the channel? I'd love to know that too. I want to thank you for being here. Thank you for your support in general. It means a lot to me. Smash the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And until the next video, peace and love, my friends.